So here we are. Well, not the next game, the first game. Okay, it's a best of 5, spawning up in the top left-hand side of the map. The big boy. It is PartinG. We'll see if he's able to take down his opponent. Spawning down the bottom right-hand side of the map, playing for Team Root. It is SuperNova. Both these guys playing a lot, streaming a lot. Honestly, between the two of them, probably more than any other Korean pro. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, PartinG really going hard lately. Then SuperNova consistent as always with his streaming. Now, I mean, we can speak about their streaming, but them going head to head is a different story. I mean, they've played once or twice. I mean, they meet on the ladder now and then, but we'll have to see how it matches up. They're going to be playing their best. There's a few dollars on the line here. So as far as the builds go, SuperNova going for that standard gas stuff. Wouldn't be surprised. I believe versus PartinG in the last Afreeca World, which SuperNova did win, by the way. PartinG actually sort of fell to SuperNova's pressure as SuperNova went for a lot of Hellion Cyclone aggression early, hitting very fancy timings, but it is PartinG, so the timings are always different. I mean, these guys are still newer, so I don't think we'll see the sort of precise exact builds that we see from the players who've been playing pretty much non-stop. So these guys, I'm sure they'll have a bit of their own flavor, and there's PartinG going in for that bit of SCV harassment there, trying to just be cheeky. SuperNova having to bring an SCV to defend his comrade, but looks like he's just going to be going for that standard Reaper expand. PartinG going for the Protoss Nexus first, then also getting the wall off here, so he will be able to block the Reaper. SuperNova is getting his command center, however, PartinG's actually going to delay it a little bit. That's a nice start for PartinG. You can never underestimate the Protoss probe here. Reaper will be coming out, so but SuperNova already getting that command center delayed a little bit. PartinG going to be quite happy with that. It's the little things that mount up in StarCraft. So Adept being chrono boosted out, and then we'll see what sort of tech PartinG goes for. Factory on the way for SuperNova, and he is going for a reactor, so we could always see some Cyclone aggression. He's thrown up that additional refinery there, so he's going to want all the gas that he can get. Looks like it could very well be some of this pressure. PartinG coming in with his probe. He sounds like he has the park announcer pack on, but so far not seeing too much. So not aware of what SuperNova is going necessarily. SuperNova could always make something cheeky happen, but this Adept actually found a proxy starport that SuperNova is going for. SuperNova a little unhappy about that. Now going to have to switch to a backup plan, which apparently is going to be... We'll see if he throws up the starport back at home or if he sends out another SCV. I mean, not likely going to send out another SCV, but he's thrown up a tech lab here, so we'll see what he decides to go for. But having that starport scouted is nice for PartinG. PartinG being very aware of everything. The Hellions are moving out on the map. They're actually going to run into this Adept here, and I mean, the Adepts do deal a number 2 Hellions. We'll see if SuperNova is able to pick off this Adept without losing anything. So far, good micro, and it looks like he will indeed pick off that Adept. However, these Hellions are very weak, so may want to take those home to get them repaired on up. But SuperNova is going to be going for this bit of aggression. So he's going for that double factory Cyclone, and I'm keep mentioning this because it worked very well versus PartinG. It took PartinG a few games to sort of finally figure it out. So we'll see if PartinG is able to shut this down when SuperNova does move out. PartinG looks like he may be going for some of his own aggression, though, getting out that fast warp prism. So far, no actual screaming tech. May just be going for something like an old 4-gate right now, as he's going to have that out. So PartinG could just be going for a lot of stalkers here. He's got an observer out already, but the stalkers anyway. It will be interesting to see how they butt heads with the Cyclones here. SuperNova, of course, wants to get some run-by damage done here. PartinG has that wall up, though. He's got a few stalkers in place, so I'm sort of doubting the effectiveness of these Hellions. SuperNova getting on and working away on a stalker here, I guess, trying to deal a bit of damage. Getting a bit of scout, and seeing PartinG's warping in some more stalkers here, so he's already seen 4, so that may be a bit of a tip-off for SuperNova that he needs to be safe. SuperNova actually starting a command center on location, as it is Blackwater. It's pretty much the safe map. We've got this warp prism moving out for PartinG. These Cyclones are here. We'll see how they're able to trade. Now keep in mind, these aren't Blink Stalkers, so they may be in a bit of trouble right now, but PartinG is looking to get some other aggression on. SuperNova's producing Cyclones, though, which are very good in those sort of smaller fights, so we'll see if he's able to hang on here. However, he is seeing all these Stalkers that PartinG is making. PartinG also switching into an Immortal, seeing all these Cyclones on the way, pardon me. Looks like PartinG may want to go for a bit of an attack here. That's sort of what he was looking for, maybe the light pressure. He hasn't thrown up a third Nexus just yet, and SuperNova already got it up his third command center. However, being harassed a little bit by those Zealots. I was wondering where those were getting warped in. SuperNova making Widow Mines. He's getting into siege tank production now, so SuperNova looks to be doing quite alright. I mean, his economy isn't fantastic or anything yet, but he's set up on a third command center, so it really will start booming soon. Now, there's an Observer, so these Widow Mines could go down, so PartinG looking to put on a bit of aggression right now. These Cyclones are heading to the main base to deal with this. However, the Stalkers are pushing in the natural, so some SCVs are certainly going to go down right now. That Warp Prism gets pushed back, but SuperNova is going to have to pull some units in to deal with this, and these Stalkers will have some kiting depending on PartinG's micro. The siege tank will help out a great number here by SuperNova, though. Working away on those Stalkers, pushing them back, trying to get off that Observer. That's a nice pick off there. Few Cyclones are in position to deal with this. The Widow Mine re-burrowing there, so I don't think PartinG's going to be able to break SuperNova here, and I don't think PartinG thinks he's going to be able to as well. I mean, he's not warping in a lot more Stalkers. He's warping in another Zealot or two, going to maybe go for a bit more harassment, but as far as a big plan on breaking the front, I don't think that's necessarily going to happen. SuperNova getting up a missile turret as well to help with this. He's pulling these Cyclones to the front, and that Warp Prism is loading up once again, so he does need to be aware of that. PartinG may be looking to hit the third base while this is going on. Now, keep in mind, SuperNova, while he took a bit of damage there, and he did lose 10 SCVs so far in that one attack, he does have the fast third command center, as PartinG is just really getting up his third base, so not in a poor situation right now. Missile turret pushing this Warp Prism back a little bit, but ultimately they are going to do a bit of harassment here. We'll see how many workers go down. Zealots do get saved, and PartinG pushes them back. Double Forge, pardon me, so PartinG is going to be playing this heavy gateway style to deal with this. I mean, Protoss usually have two choices when it comes to breaking a meching Terran. I mean, you either go for that super late game, really try and go for the eco, or you do try and hit a good window with a ton of Zealots, with Stalkers and Immortals and things like that, and we'll see if that's going to work. SuperNova is very entrenched here already, and he's only going to get more that way, getting up more factories, so he's going to continue this production, getting up Blue Flame. PartinG will have an upgrade advantage, however, actually breaking SuperNova here, I don't think that's too likely. PartinG did end up getting Blink, by the way, so he is maybe going to be able to poke a bit with these Stalkers, but all these siege tanks, and that number is just going to keep growing, so don't think so here. PartinG getting up a Templar Archives as well, not going for Storm. I mean, he's not playing versus Bio, so he's likely just going to use that for those tanky Archons. SuperNova even getting out some Medivacs, so maybe going to go for some harassment here. He's got that Blue Flame, and Blue Flame Hellbats deal a lot of damage to mineral lines, so we'll have to see how effective this is going to be. He's loading up another, so really going to be looking for this harassment right now. PartinG getting up a fourth base, not going to be under too much physical harassment, so I think that's a good idea. I mean, SuperNova's looking to maybe pick off some workers here, but throwing up a fourth Nexus, it's not like SuperNova's going to be moving out to attack that really anytime soon. He may eventually move out and try and hit a window of some sort, but ultimately he is going to be staying back for now. SuperNova is scanning PartinG, just seeing what's going on. Does see the one Stargate, so he knows that the clock's starting to tick, but he does have a fair bit of time to hang on to wait for that air transition. More Hellbats moving out for SuperNova in a drop right now. He's got these two Medivacs. PartinG done a good job, though, putting out these pylons here. As far as the Medivacs, there was 3. So there's that first drop going down, trying to work on some of those probes. However, SCVs are going down on the other side of the map. SuperNova really trying to pick some of these off, trying to pick off a lot of those probes there. However, PartinG, good micro, kept most of them alive there. Another drop moving on into the main base, which is actually undefended, so these Hellbats are going to begin working on that. So both these guys going for a bit of harassment. 6 probes going down that time for SuperNova, so he's getting a good bit of damage done. And while this is going on, Parting is looking to transition. However, SuperNova may end up hitting a scary window here. He's building up a huge siege tank count, so he's actually ahead on supply right now. So that's very good for him. Parting does have an upgrade advantage, however, Mech, not one of the compositions that's too affected by that. I mean, of course, having equal upgrades is always a good thing, but Mech can always do just fine without him at times. SuperNova's still very, very tucked in right now, going for some harassment on these probes. This Medivac is chasing them there. Oh, is he going to land? Is he going to kill some of them off? He's killed off another 6 in this batch. These cannons are here. These Hellbats are waddling after Parting, warping in some units right now, but looks like this will be cleaned up right now. SuperNova loading up a lot more Hellbats, though. Maybe going to be trying to drop directly on top of this army. I mean, on these Archons, I'm not sure how well that'll work out. They'll certainly help out with the Zealots, but SuperNova may want to move out soon. I mean, eventually he is going to max out on this ground-based composition, and that does have a sort of lifespan. SuperNova will eventually want to move out and expand as well. He's throwing up another command center. He'll eventually be able to float over. But he is probably going to want to take a big fight going on here. As Parting's got a lot of Stalkers, however. Stalkers aren't exactly ideal versus this composition. And Parting may actually be going for it right now. He is a massive blink. SuperNova immediately unloading the Hellbats just to buy some time. A lot of these siege tanks in the back aren't firing, though. Some more in the front are dealing a lot of damage. The Stalkers have blinked forward, but they're eating a lot of siege tank shots. So SuperNova getting an engagement there. And it was a somewhat alright when he let off a lot of Hellbats. Parting let off a lot of Stalkers, so both these guys sort of bleeding off units. SuperNova actually unsieged for the time being, but he does have a lot of siege tanks in the back that are sieged. Losing a lot of siege tanks though as this army for Parting pushes in. These Immortals and Archons tanking a lot of damage right now. Parting blinking these Stalkers around, getting some good pickoffs, and I think that trade might have gone Parting's way. SuperNova with a few too many siege tanks unsieged there. Picks off the Observer that was giving Parting all the information. However, the damage has sort of been done. SuperNova's been knocked back a bit, and Parting is closer to a late game transition as he already has the Stargate up, but he may just continue to try and put the pressure on SuperNova. SuperNova now taking a 4th base, so he wants to keep that economy going, dropping that Mule Hammer, so he's going to have a lot of resources here. Parting, though, looks like he is going to try and break SuperNova once again. There's a lot of siege tanks. Yes, however, this army is quite scared. There's a ton of Archons. The first one going down there. SuperNova trying to just buffer for these siege tanks with everything he can. Probably going to want to land these Vikings as well. However, there is so many Immortals here, and they're just going to tear through these siege tanks. And with that, I think SuperNova may be in a bit of trouble. Parting even splitting those Immortals. That's not something you see too often. GG gets called. Catalyst is a map that SuperNova can mech on. However, it is a little bit more Protoss friendly, so to speak. And now, spawning down the bottom right-hand side of the map, you know him, took the first game. We'll see if he's able to take the next one. It is Parting the Big Boy. And his opponent, spawning up on the top left-hand side of the map, playing for Team Root. It is SuperNova. So we'll see if SuperNova is going to try and go bio. I mean, it is Catalyst, so that's generally what you'd think. But I guess mech is always a possibility. It depends how much you really want to commit to that style. But I doubt we'll see SuperNova go mech every single game. However, making bio work could also be a little bit rough here, so we'll just have to see how it's going to play out. Parting going for that wall off. Pretty much the standard Protoss stuff, wanting to be able to stop that Reaper Scout jumping up those cliff. Now, SuperNova didn't really get to go for the early aggression he wanted that game. I mean, yes, he sort of poked with the Cyclones, however, Parting was sort of planning on going for his own aggression, so that sort of shut it down in a way. So we'll see if Parting maybe tries to go a bit more greedy one of these games, and if SuperNova tries to punish him, or if both these guys, or just one of them, will go for the aggression. But like I said, these two guys going to have their own sort of unique style, and we'll have to see how it works out. Parting, though, looks like he's going for that Gateway Expand. And then SuperNova looks like he'll be going for that similar Reaper Expand as well, so standard stuff out of both these guys. Parting moving out with that cheeky scouting probe here. Now it could be up to no good as it moves to the back of this base over. It's a bit early. It could always be a proxy Stargate or something like that though, and with the way this probe is going, that ain't a scouting probe. Already throwing up a pylon, so pretty much the earliest expansion into proxy you can go for. Could always be a Robo, however, I think it's most likely it'll be a Stargate here. I guess could always be a Twilight Council too. So really the big question here, is SuperNova going to scout this? Will he identify this? He's got his Reaper moving out. He's scouting out to the right, so he's looking for something like this. The question is, will he find it, though? I mean, it's quite an obscure spot. Twilight Council is on the way, so I'm thinking this very well could be for a Dark Shrine coming out of PartinG. Now, will SuperNova be able to scout it is the question. SuperNova is going for that reactored cyclone plan once again, however, really it will come down to whether he identifies this. Adept getting on top of that Reaper, SuperNova running away. We'll see if he goes to scout elsewhere, or we'll make a dive into the main base. Really all you need to see is a Cyberk or pardon me, a Twilight Council, and nothing definitive, and that's enough to make a Terran player worry. However, so far things seem to be fine for SuperNova. PartinG changing it up this game, is going for the Dark Shrine indeed. We'll see. No engineering bay on the way for SuperNova yet. Now, PartinG, this is a pretty big commitment to this, so there's always a possibility of counter damage, of things like that, of even SuperNova going for something like a Raven, which would be absolutely huge if he did. He is building a tech lab on the factory. He's starting to produce some Marines, and he is swapping it over, so this could either be cloaked Banshee from SuperNova, or it could be a Raven. Now, SuperNova is a player who loves Banshee, and it is going to be a Banshee, so, I mean, he's going for his own cloaked unit. However, he's not going to be prepared for this. He's got his Reaper moving around the map, but he hasn't identified this. He's seeing there's no third base. He's seeing that PartinG is really wanting to deny any scouting right now. So SuperNova may want to be on edge a little bit. Will he identify this? The Reaper, it's been relatively close to this, but hasn't seen it. And it's not scouting out that left side, so it simply could be a bit of a build order loss here from SuperNova. There's a Robo out, but it looks like PartinG will just be planning on running these DTs. A full wall up just going right now, so SuperNova going for his own bit of a cheese right now. Oh, is he gonna scout? Oh, he's checking, does he see? Oh, he doesn't see. No, so he's completely unaware. I mean, it's possible his Banshee will fly over this, which would be huge for him too, but the DT is already being warped in. I don't think the Banshee, even if he sees the gate, that would be huge. He sees the gateway, so the Banshee knows there's the gateway. We'll see if SuperNova reacts. So he's already thrown up an engineering bay, but does he have a mule or a scan? Pardon me. He will have one scan by the looks of it. If he can sort of catch out these DTs, that would be huge. One scan goes down, the DT's trying to run by. If he gets both of them, that's huge. So SuperNova actually shutting this down. That Banshee sort of alerting him at the last second there to be on his toes, but also just playing it safe there. And PartinG losing both those DTs, a bit of a loss, and now SuperNova has his own cloaked Banshee working away on this. And it does actually have cloak, so PartinG having to get out this observer, and it will be coming from the low ground, so SuperNova disrupting the economy a little bit. Something that could have gone so wrong for him at the start is not going too poorly here. Stalkers are going to get on top of this Banshee, but it will focus down as many workers as it can. Ends up getting 4, not too many. The economy disruption was pretty nice there. SuperNova is going to be going into bio there. He has already thrown up a turret, so he's going to be feeling quite comfortable with that. Now, the DT harassment doesn't necessarily ever end. I mean, PartinG can always go for some harassment with this Warp Prism. He can always go for a blink, poke, whatever he likes. SuperNova, though, playing it very safe, actually going for a Raven since he did have that tech lab there. Another Banshee coming in. It looks like it will go down there after getting only 2 probes, and no, it actually does escape. We'll see if that can get something done later. For now, though, PartinG going into a third base where SuperNova looks like he is going to be gearing up, maybe for a sort of mid-game push with all this siege tank production, making all this bio, not necessarily throwing up a third base just yet. So it looks like that may be the nature of this game. 2 more DTs warped in, PartinG going to pick them up, however, with a turret up here already, with a Raven out on the map somewhere, SuperNova should be able to save this. The question is, will Stim be picked off? I mean, that would be absolutely huge if PartinG picks off Stim. SuperNova intercepting this Prism, though. Going to be aware of this. We'll see if he brings the Raven around. That's really the only critical damage that I think PartinG could possibly get, sniping the Stim, and that would be pretty bold with the tank and the turret close to there. So, looks like PartinG going to shark around, always be a threat, but not finding too much done here. SuperNova continuously producing siege tanks. Just getting up on the bio right here, and so far, in quite a decent spot. Working away on the Prism there. These DTs are swiping away on a Marine or 2. Any damage he can get done there is nice. That was some good free damage, just using that DT shield. And now PartinG's looking to move out on the map. Now, this Widowmine looks like it will hit a Stalker. If PartinG is paying perfect attention, he may be able to dodge it. Not quite, though, so That Stalker does go down. With all these siege tanks, I don't necessarily think SuperNova is in any trouble from PartinG pushing him. PartinG just maybe looking to put on a bit of pressure, but ultimately macroing back at home. He's throwing up a lot of gateways though, so maybe he does want to try and kill SuperNova. However, with all these siege tanks, I don't think it's going to happen, but if SuperNova moves out and gets caught, that's always a possibility. Now, PartinG did commit to this. He didn't get too much damage done. So, SuperNova is going to move out, have a bit of a window in which she will have more supply, just from bulking up on these two bases. Warp Prism is going to be moving around this, so these DTs always have the potential to punish SuperNova for moving out. We'll see if he keeps his rallied units back at home. That's always the big question. DTs are going to be moving out. Stalkers poking on these units here, picking off as whatever they can. PartinG is quite weak back at home, doesn't have a scary army. He is getting out a Colossus now, though, so he'll be in trouble in that regard. And Combat Shield's only halfway done. Looks like this Warp Prism was scouted here. So SuperNova going to try and shut that down. It's sort of just awkwardly sitting in the back of the base there. SuperNova looking to push in. PartinG, though, sort of has eyes on this for now. Third base is going to be under pressure right now. As, SuperNova does want to get some damage done right now. However, there is a Colossus. He's shaving off units, though. And he's got these siege tanks, and 3 siege tanks can sort of put more pressure on than 1 Colossus, so we'll see what SuperNova is able to get done right now. Now, the longer PartinG waits, the better it will be for him, though. As he gets more and more rounds of warp, and he's going to have a second Colossus out. May just want to wait for that. His third base is going to be under fire, but whether it's going to be fatal, I don't think so. He's warping in another huge round of Stalkers. That may just be enough to work away on this. Not too many reinforcements coming across for SuperNova. He's got a lot of the bio back at home, so we'll see if PartinG takes a fight right now. SuperNova just being forced back. Good force fields going down. The siege tanks dealing damage to these Stalkers. So SuperNova sort of taking a trade here. However, PartinG not quite breaking him there. And SuperNova now getting on top of this army. Good micro. Another Colossus does come forward, so that may be enough to push us back. But SuperNova does have reinforcements coming here. SuperNova really focused on killing off this third base. And Zealot Warp incoming though, and with the Colossus support is going to be able to push us back. SuperNova going to have to kite back. No Zealot charge just yet. And with this bio, SuperNova may be able to counter push once again. These Marauders may just stim forward, but no, they do have to go back. So SuperNova, he's now getting up a third base, but he didn't really get too much damage done there, and he's still got a scary chunk of bio. However, PartinG's army is just improving more and more as the Colossus count builds up, and when the third Colossus comes out, that's when it becomes very scary. SuperNova now maybe trying to focus down one of these Colossus, tries to focus one down, however, is getting forced back. PartinG, good micro, pulls that back. It gets saved by the shield battery there. And now SuperNova running home with his tail between his legs. Viking production has begun back at home. There is one Viking that was looking for that Warp Prism, however, the Warp Prism did go down somewhere. SuperNova was trying to pick off that gateway in Dark Shrine there, just managed to unpowered it, but lost a lot of units in the process, and now PartinG's counter pushing. SuperNova has an upgrade advantage. He's got a good chunk of bio, and with the Vikings coming out, he may be able to take a good fight if PartinG oversteps. PartinG still got that one other Colossus, not in the fight just yet, so he will want to wait for that. That could be the big game changer here. SuperNova's third base is just finishing up, so PartinG has managed to hold on to his third, so he's got a better economy for now. But this game still can come down just to the one big fight here. PartinG, Stalkers, and Colossus, not necessarily the best composition here, so SuperNova could always take a good fight. This Observer is going to go down. PartinG, though, has sort of had the information he needs, and that's maybe why he's not necessarily just running in there. He saw how much bio there just was, maybe just going to poke and prod for now. And that's exactly what he's doing. SuperNova trying to pick something off, but every beam from these Colossus is dealing a lot of damage. The Vikings, though, trying to zone these units back, almost killing off one of those Colossus there. Zealot's now being warped in for PartinG, but Charge is just starting, so that's not too effective here. Factory floating out for SuperNova. Maybe trying to see what's going on. PartinG poking with his Stalkers. Not too many medivacs for SuperNova, as he has been forced to produce these Vikings. Third base is now up for SuperNova and saturated. PartinG looking into a fourth. Upgrade-wise, though, PartinG looking to sort of even that up, getting his +2, and then maybe take his advantage in this game further on. I wouldn't necessarily say it's a straight-up advantage, as there can always be a fight that completely decides how the game's going to go, but as far as his composition, as far as his economy, PartinG not in a bad spot here. SuperNova is sort of just forced to stay back at home for now. We'll see if he goes for a big timing. I wouldn't be surprised if SuperNova pulls the SCVs here, I was about to say. And that's exactly what he's doing. This is looking very Heart of the Swarm-esque, going for a SCV pull versus the Protoss player. Now chasing back some of these Stalkers here. However, PartinG fully aware this is on the way, so he knows that all he's going to need to do is hold. I've seen Terrans try this now and then versus Protoss players. However, I'm not too sure if it's going to work. I mean, it's an attempt, but that's really what it's going to come down to. And there's 5 Colossus out already. There's even a Warp Prism, so PartinG will be able to micro these back. And there's not too many Vikings here, so I'm a little worried for SuperNova right now. Yes, he's sort of equal on army supply. However, engaging into this force field will be able to go down. Guardian Shield's down for now. SCVs are trying to tank right now. Colossus, one of them goes down. However, there's still 4 putting out so much damage in the back there. Another one goes down, and there'll be one more falling as well. So SuperNova maybe is going to make this work. He's bled off a lot of supply, though. 36 SCVs have gone down. With this wave of Zealots sort of intercepting this army right now, it may not be enough for SuperNova to hang on. These Vikings working away on these Colossus, however, they were kept alive a bit by those shield batteries, and now it looks like SuperNova's army is falling. He's half the supply of PartinG. He kills off the Colossus in the end there, but it isn't enough. PartinG taking the 2-0 lead there. Larry just having a drink there to try and save my voice. Got a fair bit of games to cast today, but spawning up in the top right-hand side of the map, it is the big boy with the 2-0 lead. We'll see if he's able to close this out. And his opponent spawning down the bottom left-hand side of the map, playing for Team Root. We'll see if he's able to bring it back. I mean, the games have been pretty close. It's not like there's been any clean sweeps or any straight-up cheeses that have won the game, or straight-up rushes, anything like that, but we'll see. PartinG so far has been getting the upper hand. I assume both these guys will go for the same build. Well, I mean, PartinG more likely as, well, not the same build, but the same opening. I mean, you go for the Gateway Expand. I don't expect any one-base rushes here. We'll see what SuperNova goes for. Wouldn't be surprised to see some Cyclone Aggression or something like that. That's where he found success in the last Afreeca World, beating, well, he beat Revival, and then he managed to beat Petit Drogo. PartinG, though, he was knocked out in the last Afreeca World. Gonna try and take this one, and I think he has a good shot. I mean, MMA is sort of a wild card. Revival, I guess, always can't be counted out too, but so far PartinG looking pretty good in this tournament. Harassing this SCV once again. This probe been such a nightmare here. Marine is actually the choice for SuperNova, so he's not going to be going for that Scouting Reaper this game. Gonna be having out the Marine. Gonna be going for that expansion, but this is generally when you want a slightly quicker tech behind it, when you are maybe just planning on doing your own build. This Marine is coming in. Gonna be forcing back that probe, though, saves its life. Command Center was off position a little bit, but with that Marine out, SuperNova's not gonna have anything to worry about with that probe coming back in and harassing. Guys like PartinG and Hero have just been doing so much worker harassment lately, they just figure why not. And now, okay, this is interesting. So SuperNova started a Reaper for a brief second there, but canceled it, and now is actually going into this Concussive Shell Marauder. So that Marine was to deny any scouting, and now he's maybe going to try and catch out a unit for PartinG. Because with the Concussive Shell, the unit will be slowed, and then SuperNova will be able to pick it off, and sometimes this can be followed up with aggression, sometimes it's just a nice starting point for Terran. PartinG, once again, going for a Twilight Council. Could always be DTs again. Didn't really get too much done in that last game, but then just followed it up with nice plays. We'll see if this Adept moves out and gets caught or not. So the first Marauder's out. SuperNova's swapping off this, and then maybe going to go into a Siege Tank behind it or something like that. He's starting up a Reactor, so he is just going to want that standard production. We'll see what he does with this Tech Lab following this up. For now, though, he's going to try and catch an Adept, and he actually does catch it there. The Shade starts, but it may be too late. We'll see if PartinG can at least pick off one Marine, and he does, but losing that Adept, that's a nice pick off for SuperNova there, denying some scouting as well. Going to have PartinG maybe a little bit worried here. Stalker on the way for PartinG, and he is going to be going for Blink by the looks of it. Well, I mean, he's researching Blink, so he's definitely going to be going Blink here. We'll see what the commitment is. SuperNova, though, maybe going to be looking for a Cloaked Banshee once again. Not rushing out Stim or anything just like that. We'll see what else he decides to go for, as that can really be the deciding factor in this game. starting another tech lab, so maybe we'll start producing siege tanks, and that's really what SuperNova is going to need if he is going to be able to shut down this aggression that will be coming out of PartinG. Robo on the way, more gates on the way, so it is really pointing towards some solid aggression coming out. Whereas SuperNova looks like he's maybe just going to be going for this Cloaked Banshee harassment. He hasn't started a siege tank just yet, and that's generally what you want. And he actually throws up a third command center, so this is going to be a little worrying for SuperNova. He's not aware that this attack is coming in, as he hasn't really scouted out. He's starting a siege tank now, so that's really the start of being able to hold something like this. The Cloaked Banshee, yeah, not likely going to be too effective, particularly versus Stalkers, as they just take forever to kill Stalkers. And if a Protoss player has a Robo, they most likely will have an Observer's PartinG already rallying one across the map here. So the Cloaked Banshee I don't think going to get too much done. Although PartinG maybe changing his mind about aggression, maybe just going to poke and prod a little bit here. He's starting +1 though, he's starting a robotic space, so maybe not going to be going to try and kill SuperNova right now, but maybe just going to poke a little bit. SuperNova third base on the way. So if he does get away with that, that will be nice for him. However, he hasn't really thrown anything else just yet. He could always still go into mech, as he hasn't started stim or anything along those lines, or an additional barracks. So we'll just have to wait and see what SuperNova is really going to do in this game. That one Banshee getting in, picking off three probes there, pardon me, but ultimately going down. So not sure if that investment was worth it, as PartinG's had an Observer every game so far. Another Banshee will be scouted here as well by this Observer. A Raven will be coming out. We're seeing an Engineering Bay on the way, but so far SuperNova not committed to anything. He's really taken his time as far as committing to a tech choice just yet. He's gone to a third base, so he's certainly going to be macroing here, but not committing to anything just yet. Throwing up an Engineering Bay, wanting to be safe and whatnot. There's the extra factory, so it is going to be mech coming out of SuperNova. PartinG's completely aware of this, though, due to this Observer. We'll see if the Raven's actually going to let SuperNova know that it's there the second it pops out, but this other Banshee coming in, going to be pushed back by PartinG. SuperNova, so once again, he's gone into a game, getting up a fast third command center. This game, though, he hasn't lost any SCVs to a frontal push, so that is nice for him. He's moving out with the Raven, though, so that's a little bit worrying. Banshee getting a few kills here, however, maybe could have gotten a few more, just denying mining there. Trying to avoid these Stalkers here. Just staying safe there. Oh, it is actually in range of those Stalkers there. I may have to move back a little bit. It's trying to, is it going to be safe? Okay, it's safe there for now. Loses most of its health, though. So SuperNova is going to be playing this mech style. He's building siege tanks. He's producing some Hellions as well. He's already got the Raven, and that's sort of why he's been so slow to get going here. He's starting double armory as well. PartinG already on +1, so PartinG will have an upgrade advantage. We'll see if this is going to be a pretty similar repeat to the last game. PartinG looks like he is just going to be committing to this ground army. No Templar Archives or Immortals being produced just yet. Widowmine trades with the Stalker. That's an alright trade there. Few siege tanks are up, and SuperNova is producing more, but there's the Templar Archives. There's a lot more gateways on the way, so it will be PartinG trying to break this mech player before he really gets where he needs to go. There was the Raven out on the map, and it is actually going to pick off that Observer there, so that's nicely done. That really making the investment worth it. SuperNova now getting into this third base, really getting it secured here. Blackpink is sort of just as defensive, I'd say, as the first map the players were playing on, but PartinG still managed to break SuperNova here. We'll see, though. PartinG changing it up a little bit, going for a double Stargate immediately here, so maybe he's not going to try and break SuperNova, as he's already starting +1 air. So PartinG maybe is going to be playing the late game right now, maybe just going to be going into that mech versus Sky Toss here, and that's a completely different game. We've got these Stalkers maybe going to blink up. Maybe that's the bit of aggression that PartinG's looking for, and he's warping in these Stalkers right now, and he's got a good count. SuperNova could be caught a bit off guard right now. All of his siege tanks are at the front. He does not have much back at home to prevent a massive blink-in into his main base. This Warp Prism will be able to give the high ground, and the Stalkers will be able to blink up. I think this Raven's days are numbered. Will SuperNova see this siege tank working away on some of these Stalkers, though? Raven not accomplishing much there, shutting down the Warp Prism for a time being, so won't be able to warp in anything new. But SuperNova still going to take a bit of damage here. He could always lose a command center. That's something pretty huge. A siege tank's here to defend this. SuperNova's pulled back some of his army, but this is really just some harassment from PartinG. as he's teching up back at home. Would like to see a 4th base coming out of PartinG, and I believe we'll see one very soon here. He's warping in a lot of Zealots though, so maybe he is deciding he's going to try and kill off SuperNova. SuperNova looking to take a 4th base right now. He's got a pretty good defensive position. Scanning this army, seeing what's up. Really PartinG just keeping the pressure on. He had a lot of minerals there, so why not make some Zealots, I suppose. That speedy Warp Prism going to come in here, going to drop on top of these siege tanks. That's going to be a very nice trade for PartinG. They're already picking off one, going to be going for a second there. These charge lots here. A Hellbat will come in to work away on these Zealots, but PartinG is going to get a nice trade there. 2 siege tanks for 4 Zealots and a Prism. I mean, that's, I'd say due to the nature of where the tech is going, this is going to work out for PartinG right now. SuperNova not really aware that this fast Tempest transition is on the way. There's no carriers just on the way. So PartinG is really thinking of getting these specialty Tempests, maybe just to work away on his opponent, to really shut down the siege tanks. However, SuperNova can always take a nice big fight here. He's scanning ahead. He's still really far ahead on supplies. PartinG is just committing to this. However, SuperNova is not aware that PartinG is going into this air tech. PartinG's done sort of a good job being in the middle ground with as far as ground tech goes, but then while also getting this and sort of selling a story to SuperNova. So that 4th base is getting up for SuperNova, but he could be in a world of trouble here as these Tempests start to come on out. Three Tempests at a time for PartinG. He's already got 3 out, so he's going to have 6 Tempests in total. That's quite a scary number. That's not the sort of thing you can just instantly react to. SuperNova's got out Liberators and a few Vikings, but I don't think it's going to be enough to shut down these Tempests. These Stalkers are going to work away on this PF. If they can get the snipe, SuperNova needs to repair this desperately. He's working away on it. The SCVs are repairing, and I think he'll be able to save this. Yes, he will. So PartinG taking a nice trade there, but this is just PartinG's ground army. He's putting so much pressure on, and the Tempest will be able to move out soon. He's going to head up to 9, and SuperNova, he's getting ready to go into battle cruisers from the looks of it, but he really is just going to need Vikings here, maybe Widow Mines as well. He's going to have the ground army for sure in this game, but with all these Tempests, this is quite a scary number that can really begin to work away on SuperNova's army. It's really going to put him in a tough situation right here. Stalkers picking off a refinery, picking off a missile turret from the seam of things. A siege tank not quite close enough to defend these workers here. Looks like SuperNova's preparing to transition. He is going to be going into battle cruisers if I had to guess. I mean, it could always just be Matt's Viking. I mean, if he scans the Tempest, that's what he'll start making, but he's completely unaware that PartinG's just happily teching to this, and SuperNova's maxed out. He can't even start producing more Vikings if he wants to. It's 11 Tempests versus 2 Vikings, so SuperNova completely caught unawares by this. I mean, he kills off 6 workers there. PartinG's not on a fantastic economy. He's now just securing a 5th base. He could have maybe been a little bit greedier, but so far he's been doing such a good job keeping SuperNova busy, keeping him back, trading with these Stalkers. And I mean, SuperNova hasn't seen a large army or anything, so he really needs to identify that these Tempests are on the way. He's making Liberators. Liberators are for anti-ground, anti-carrier, not anti-Tempest here. These Hellions are going to trade with these Stalkers right now. So SuperNova maybe clicked on the upgrades as well. He flew into this a bit as he'd realize, oh, you've only got 1, 2. Where's all your money and resources going? He's making a Cyclone as well. That's not going to help him either. So I'm a little worried for SuperNova in this game. I mean, yes, you can always make a late game army work. He's doing good harassment versus PartinG as well, killing off 17 probes there, but these Tempests, they're now starting to move out, and I think SuperNova may just have to go for a base trade here. He may as well just unsiege his army. He scans, but he doesn't see the Tempests are just rolling across the map, and SuperNova is going to be very surprised by this. This is the sort of thing you need to expect as a mech player. He's going to catch his first glimpse of the Tempest literally just as they're coming up. I mean, the Hellions didn't even see him. They see them now, so SuperNova is going to be in trouble. He's going to start pulling back with everything he can, but he's going to know that he'll need to unsiege these tanks. There we go, question mark in chat. Kind of caught off guard by this. He's going to have to start producing mass Vikings as well. He's unsieging all of his tanks. I mean, he's just going to have to go for a complete base trade from the seam of things. And he's taken a fight to the Tempest, but there's no Raven for a PDD, so he's just going to bleed off these Liberators. That's all he's going to do. Maybe run away. Well, I mean, run forward with these siege tanks and then just start picking off bases. SuperNova is not completely dead in this game. I mean, the Tempest deals so little DPS. They deal high volley damage, but these siege tanks are always going to be able to pull PartinG out of position here. SuperNova is securing a 5th base. He's transitioning back home, so we'll see how much time these siege tanks can buy. There's a Hellbat or two, but these Zealots are going to engage them. So these siege tanks are going to start going down right now. SuperNova just trying to buy time, and that's exactly what he's doing with this army. But the fact that he was caught so off guard in this, that he committed so much to units that weren't going to help him versus this, is a bit unfortunate. It might be worth it for SuperNova to maybe go for a run by somewhere else. He's just trading with cannons for now. PartinG has really just shut this down quickly. I don't think SuperNova bought nearly enough time for himself right now. These Tempest immediately changing path now. 18 Tempest isn't a fantastic army. A large chunk of Vikings can engage that, particularly good, well upgraded Vikings. They will have +3 armor, no attack. PartinG's been going for his own air upgrades as well, so we'll have to see how this fight's going to work out. SuperNova really needs more time. His economy is not too fantastic. He cannot bleed off any of these Vikings. He's just got to sit back till he hits a critical mass here. These Tempests can work away. SuperNova just needs to buy time. That's why I was saying maybe another run by is what he needs to go for as far as siege tank run bys can go. He's producing more and more Vikings here. He's can produce 5 at a time. That number is going to go up. Currently, looking at it though, it's 11 Vikings to 18 Tempest. PartinG just working away on these supply depots. SuperNova not getting too much done here. He cannot take a fight yet. He needs to sit back as long as he can. He's looking to maybe pick off a Tempest. The Liberators are engaging in. They're getting some good splash damage done there. However, these Vikings not dealing nearly enough damage. Some Widow Mines are running forward, and these are some very clumped up Tempests. They're being forced to run back. Some of these mine shots could go off, and they will be huge, but Tempests do have a lot of health, so ultimately not getting enough there. One of these Vikings sort of just running forward, so Widow Mines are a good choice versus these Tempest. I mean, Tempest are not too scary of a unit. They really just give that air control, but so far PartinG's just trying to make the mass Tempest work to control the air. 2 Widow Mines are going to force this army back once again. Hellbat's coming in. One of the mines is going to burrow. Gets a shot off there, so these Tempests are bruised, but SuperNova, I don't think he's going to have enough right now. He just doesn't have the economy, so he didn't have enough to take on this army, and as a result, PartinG is just going to snowball here. SuperNova calls GG. PartinG takes the 3-0 there.